My name is Isabelle Aubert. I'm a senior scientist at Sunnybrook Research Institute, and I'm part of the University of Toronto in the Department of Lab Medicine and Pathobiology. Research idea can be generated in many different ways. I'll try to go through some of them to give you an idea. It can come from a fundamental question that we're really intrigued on how the brain functions and work and how we can repair it, for example. It can come also by talking to our colleagues and seeing an unmet need at the clinical level and how can we help better care for the patients. It can also come from a student, a trainee that say, hey, I've read this article, what if we were to do this project? I think it will answer many questions that are of great interest in neuroscience. So in any field, actually, it can come from many different places. So once we have an idea being generated, the next step is like, what do we do with this idea? How do we put it in action? So often it comes from collaborative work, and maybe there's a preconception out there that scientists are alone in their lab doing their little experiments, but it actually doesn't happen this way. It takes many people to make it work. So it's often through collaborations and how we put the idea from one step to the other to put it in practice, to test our hypothesis, to get the data, to verify it, to reproduce the data, make sure it's solid, and then we can either confirm or refute the hypothesis we put forward. So that's the first step into getting the right team together, getting the right expertise, the methodology, the equipment, the people. A lab is really about the people who are in it. So we do have to seek out the expertise for many people in our team, and often it will be locally, what's our main expertise? What are we good at? How can we make that achievable? We go and think of people that we've known before, that we work with, or people that we've read manuscripts about, or we heard them present at a conference and we thought that would be great to have them on our team to really get the best person for each part of the project. Often to start a collaboration, we have to make it real. And how do we make it real? So we are facing some barriers. The ideas are always there. The issue is not the number of ideas or the number of challenges that we can dig into and solve scientifically and at the clinical level. There's a lot to be done. But one of the barriers that we first face is actually the funding. We need to pay for that research, and there's several people involved in the research. So how are we going to find money for this? And there's different funding agencies that we have to apply, and it's proposals that take months to prepare, months to decide if we get funded or not, and then we can start doing the research. So there's often like a long delay into the idea, the funding, and when we start the research. So with all the fundings in the world, like the other barriers that we can face are based on teamwork and how to be able to really value each person in a team and have that person also be recognized within the team, but also within their own institution and through their university and other agency to which they report to, because it's very hard. And you see that in many examples in team sports, that the whole team will be fully recognized for what they contribute to the winning game. So some of you may be wondering, what does a research lab look like and how do you define a research lab? Well, the picture behind me is actually the lab, in my lab. And there's a lot of equipment, like you can see all pieces of equipment, and usually there's people around there that sit and work at the bench. And at the back there is my office, so that's where they come and talk to me, and that's often how the best idea happen. Actually, when we meet in person and we discuss together with my whole team, and I talk about bigger collaboration as well, but in my team, the team is composed of undergraduate student, graduate student, postdoctoral fellow, research associate, technician, a lab manager, a project manager, the support of the admin staff, the administration staff, that is super important as well. So it's really from one lab, there's already a team, and then we extend with other teams that each have their own lead to make these big collaborative projects happening.